Yes, sir. So you ready for our analysis on what came first, the chicken or the egg?
Sure. The chicken, if you are religious.
Wait, what? What you mean?
What? The Bible says God created animals.
Oh, but the egg
Debunked.
technically is an animal, right?
No. The egg is just the place where the chicken is born in, resides in.
Bro, your mic sounds crazy good. What the?
Yeah.
Never mind. What is what is good further beyond? Man, you going first just because of that, bro. What's one theory you got
What the
today?
fuck? Okay. So I had some, I don't know, not really problems while looking for a theory, just unsure on what to pick. So I went on TikTok, I went on YouTube, Reddit, right?
Yes, sir.
But then I came across an interesting one and I was like, this is complex enough. And also something that was like instantly interesting to me. I mean, and it's called the Santiago Interference.
Interesting.
Now, what do I mean by this? First, I have to start off and talk about the definition of consciousness or cognition. So, I think there is actually this one guy called Santiago. I don't know the full name, but this is the dude who came up with this. I assume, at least. The definition for consciousness and life is that both of them have to coexist together. You cannot have life exist without consciousness and cognition, and vice versa. So if something is conscious, it lives. There is life, and if life exists, it um, has cognition, has consciousness. So this consciousness is defined as the ability to react to one's surroundings. So you can maybe like humans can see stuff, we smell stuff, we see the world and feel the world around us. We react accordingly.
Yeah.
And even plants do this. So maybe not just maybe they don't do this to the human degree. So obviously they cannot see, or at least that's what we assume.
Yeah,
They cannot
allegedly.
see, but they do grow towards sunlight. They can reproduce, and they can also, like, not all plants, but some of them can all like change some stuff within themselves, like cut off or close some water canals, or with the fly traps they can move and actively try to eat stuff. So they do react to their outside world, and therefore, according to this definition, have a conscious. So they know that they are alive. They are able to react and understand the things, at least to a certain degree. But now, for this theory, the the concept of cognitive interference is meant. So we know that, or at least that it was like for me. So I just assume it's, since it's a theory and a whole concept, I'm not the only one who has this.
Yeah.
Imagine you sit on your couch, don't think about anything deep in particular, right? Just chilling, and suddenly you have these thoughts inside your head that you would not normally have. Let's see. An example would be: imagine you drive your car. Just also like the last example on the couch, you're not thinking about anything. You just automatically driving from point A to point B, and then suddenly you have this imagination, this thought of suddenly driving left, like swirling your car to the left or right, maybe off a cliff. I don't know. Like, sounds fucked
Oh.
up.
Yeah, it's like
Like,
whenever
why?
you're holding a baby and your brain tells you to drop it.
Yeah, exactly. Like these weird thoughts that you would not normally have. Or let's see, another example would probably be you stand near a cliff and you're like, what if I just jump down? So what would
Yeah.
happen? Why don't I just jump down? These thoughts are like called, like this whole thing is called cognitive interference. Now the question is, why does this happen? This is one of those things that scientists still don't know exactly why it happens. They are just theories, and the most popular theory suggests that this happens every time whenever you are not using your brain's cognitive functions. So if you are on autopilot, let's say, example with a car is perfect for this. You usually, like, if you talk to your friends, you will not think about these things, like suddenly just going left against it, like against a tree or something. But if you're just all alone, not thinking about anything particularly, you will have these thoughts, and that's because your brain is on autopilot. You are not using your cognitive functions, so your brain uses this free time to self-check itself. It's like your brain is having a conversation with itself. And a good example for this would be, let's say, murder. Murder, for example, is bad. Like, hot take,
It's
murder is a
bad.
bad thing.
Really?
I don't know, bro. And it's very clear cut. It's almost natural for us to understand why murder is bad. Like, life is precious. We don't want to die, so others don't need to die. Murder is bad. And now imagine you sit down eating a pizza at a pizza place, not thinking about anything really, and your brain is like, "Hey, what if you just kill this guy over there, right? Lol. Like, what would happen, bro?" And you of course instantly think to yourself, "Hell no, the fuck? Like
Exactly.
what the fuck is this thought?" And your brain as just says, "I'd just making sure, like, no biggie. Like, I just wanted to see what you would say." So it's like a self checkup to see what is good and what is evil. The brain constantly questions what is fear, like what is acceptable and what is not. And the big question that arises, or for some people it came to mind, is what if you take a living being and remove all of its sensory functions, like stimuli, cognitive senses, like take away this eyesight, or like the ability to see, smell, feel, hear, all of that. So the like with humans, you would just be a, I don't know, it almost is like an empty shell, right? If you
Yeah.
cannot see, hear, feel anything, what are you even doing? Like, what would this even feel like? I don't know if you could still talk. I don't know if talking is like a cognitive function. Probably not. But also, then again, you wouldn't know what you're saying because you cannot hear yourself really. Maybe just and at some point you will forget about talking altogether. So, what if you remove all of this? Apparently, there could have been some experiments in the past where people did these human experiments trying to find this out. Hopefully, that's not true and not the case, because this sounds like some high
Wait,
tier
how?
torture method.
How would they find that out?
Bro, just like, what would a human being feel like, or just say, or whatever, think, if all of it is removed? Like, this sounds like, I don't
Jesus.
know, bro. So we know now that the brain always questions itself, like what is good, what is evil. But now, what would happen if you cannot see, hear, feel, smell, or anything else? What would your brain do in this situation? It already gives out these spurts of evil thought. So these couple short instances from in your everyday life. What would happen if these automated moments, like when you're not thinking about anything, are almost eternal, because you can't do anything else in this state without any sensory stimuli. You don't have any thoughts really. So now your brain is able to constantly give you these evil thoughts, right? Like, according to this theory,
Right.
what kind of evil would appear in your head? Like, what would you think about? This is like an interesting thing, probably, or would be an interesting thing to know. Obviously, to know, you have to do some crazy shit to humans. Like, maybe it's something like it's better not to know. Like some of those World War II experiments that were just done to for the lols, almost just that's just to understand a small thing, like what would happen if you have a baby and have it like don't make it have any contact to other human beings, like what would happen? Like
Ooh,
this sort
maybe
of
that's
experiment happened.
So you know how like there's those I don't know if it's a torture experiment, but I know of people that have just like they basically say like lock yourself in a completely dark room where you can't hear, see, smell anything, and you'll go crazy if you stand there for like more than 5 minutes.
Yeah. So this is basically what would happen if you take away someone's eyes, nose, all of that. So
Jesus.
this so according to this theory and this definition, you can only be alive if you have cognitive functions. And at that point, without all these senses, are you still alive? Like, can you still be called alive? Because you don't have a conscious anymore. Like, you cannot react to your surroundings anymore. And according to this definition, life is able to or has to react to surroundings. So if you cannot do that, are you still alive? And since you still have your motor functions, you can still move technically. You just don't know what you're doing. This is like the question, and this whole Santiago interference. So what like we have these short bursts of interference. So this is like the biggest interference there can be if you have all complete nothingness around you. What kind of thoughts do you have? Some people use it as a way to describe like a place between life and death, almost on some afterlife shit, like a
Yeah.
purgatory. You see nothing, you feel nothing, and you have constantly evil thoughts get put in your brain. So maybe this is like the atheists' afterlife, like what they are imagining. Because if you die, according to atheists, there is nothing else, a complete nothingness. And while I'm at it, like a couple of days ago, I was talking to someone in the Discord about this because this was like the first time I ever just sat down and tried to think of what nothingness is. Because even though I'm not really religious, I still think it would be like good, interesting, or something that I still believe in is that when you die, you get reincarnated or you come back in another form, right? This is what I believe in. But like full-on atheists believe in nothingness, and it's just weird to try to feel or understand what this complete nothingness would feel like. It gave me like this weird feeling
Wait,
in
so
my
is it like
stomach.
okay, so when you say nothingness, do you mean like you and yourself and your soul still exist within this purgatory, but you're experiencing nothing, or do you mean just like
You cannot even
actual
experience
nothingness?
anything. Yeah, actually, like if you die, would you still be able to experience this nothingness?
Yeah,
Because
that's what I mean. It's kind of weird to think about because like if you die and then you yourself goes into something that is nothing, and I imagine like some people think you're just floating around in all black space and just kind of just existing within nothing. But I
would you
think
even know?
I don't think
Like,
so.
would
I
you
mean, you
even
would have a
realize you're there?
I
This
don't
would
think you
be
would have a
like
consciousness.
maybe it's like maybe it can be compared to eternal sleep, but you never dream. So it's like this state where you're just yeah, I think this is like the best thing I can use as an example here as a comparison because when you sleep and dream, of course, right? You dream, you can remember it, but if you don't dream, this is like time that just passes and without your knowledge, and you don't even think about being alive or feeling anything, seeing anything. It just happens. Hard to explain. I don't even think that your brain is able to comprehend nothingness completely.
All
So
right,
if you
so
take yeah.
you know, okay, so say the normal person, not you, because you sleep for like an hour, but like the normal person, they sleep for a complete 8 hours, right?
Yes.
But then you only remember like maybe 10 minutes worth of your dream. Maybe it's just like the nothingness that is not your dream. Like, cause you're doing something for the other 7 hours and 50 minutes, whether you're dreaming something else, but like you only dream for like really 30 minutes, and then all of a sudden
Hmm.
it's 8 hours later.
Yeah.
So maybe that's
Maybe
nothingness.
yeah. I think that's the closest thing I can really mention or try to compare it to, because nothingness just is a weird concept, because we are never really doing or feeling nothing. We always feel and do something. Even if someone asks you, what are you doing right now? Nothing. Right? You're still technically doing something, right? You're existing, you're breathing, you're seeing your surroundings. So nothingness is just, I don't know, almost scary. Like I think a lot of people, if they actually thought about nothingness, like actively sat down and thought about this, I believe it would be scary to many people. So even though it's not really like um
Well, but would you really be scared
understandable.
though? You don't have a brain.
Wait, what do you mean? Why would I be scared?
No, you wouldn't be able to experience being scared if
Of
you were in that
course,
scenario.
but you're scared as like while you're still alive.
Oh yeah.
This is the thing. So this is of course not like connected to this topic completely, but also I just had this I just remembered then when I talked to the guy on Discord about this topic, that often see comments online where atheists say, I don't understand how people can be religious. How can you believe in something that you have no proof of existing? Like, why would you believe in an afterlife? Like, why wouldn't you then at that point? Because nothingness just doesn't feel that good, right? So you just want to
Yeah.
hope and believe in something after death. So you don't want to have nothingness after that. Like, that's just depressing. I mean,
I think most people are put themselves like behind their religion, basically like structure their life in some way, shape, or form.
mhm.
So like, oh, I'm a Christian, so I'm going to live by these rules. This is why I'm not going to, hurt anybody. This is why I'm not going to be mean to anybody, so on and so forth. Like most people do it like that. I feel like I'm just a Christian just because like I really don't know why. I mean, I feel like I've had a lot of crazy things happen in my life where they could have went a completely different way. So I just feel like if there's not Christianity, then there's something out in the world that's like just looking over everybody basically.
Yeah. But to sum up this theory, so the final question for this whole Santiago interference is just that, since we said that life only exists with consciousness and vice versa, then what is life what is something that lives but doesn't have cognition? So is it still alive? What would we call this? Like, we from the outside would, for example, see this human before us, but this human doesn't know anything that is happening or existing around them. So are they still alive? What would we call this? Because they have no cognitive functions anymore. So technically, according to this definition, they are also not alive anymore. Just like between life and death, technically.
So I think without your cognitive functions, are they saying you're not alive or you're not a person? Like
No, it
you
says
lose your
alive.
humanity.
No, not humanity. It means just life itself, not just humans. So also plants and animals, and I don't know, other living organisms. You are alive if you're able to react to your surroundings, to know that something around you exists, and to somehow see, feel anything. Uh, Even plants do this, as I said it, naturally, like in instinct or genetics. So if you don't have anything to react to those surroundings, what are you then? If you still are able to move like a human, because humans are alive. So what happens if you don't have these functions anymore? You're just I don't know, empty husk?
Well, yeah, at that point you're just like a shell of what could be basically. I mean, if you can't do anything that's human like, then you're basically just a shell of a person. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
think like is there like an actual answer, do you think?
Uh, as long as we don't do don't do this experiment, we probably won't know, right?
I just feel like we have to now.
Fuck. Okay, we need
Fuck.
some volunteers. We sent Jazz and Taco.
Yeah, we can start putting those flyers around like they did for that dream. So yeah, just show up here.
Oh my god! But yeah, while researching this, I think the most interesting thing to me was just remembering the fact that we sometimes have these weird thoughts pop up in our brain because you rarely actively think about this. And talking to other people about these thoughts, they might just think that you're crazy.
Yeah.
Because I think I mentioned this to my parents many years ago, like when I sometimes just have these weird thoughts, and I wanted to know if they have them too, and they're like, "No, we don't." Like,
Everybody
are you
has
good?
them. Nah, everybody for sure has them. I mean, like, I feel like the most alarming one is like maybe be the baby one. Like, I think I've said that to my mom before, like holding my little brother. Like, well, I just want to
Mhm.
drop him, and she was like, "Man, what?" And then took him from me. Like, nah, just like it's just like a
Oh my
thought.
god.
But like, I just
Yeah,
spoke it because I
though
thought it was normal.
I can definitely relate. Yeah, this I don't think this is a rare case. I think everyone should have some of these. Like it should technically happen to everyone. Maybe they forget about them and then act like people are crazy around them if they mention it. But everyone probably has these thoughts, and maybe just forgets about them at some point or after maybe a minute.
Well, it's just like I don't know. Even smaller than that. Like, what if you're just talking to somebody and your brain's just like, "What? Just slap them." Like for for what?
For what? What the
Yeah.
fuck? They didn't do anything.
Exactly. So now everybody for sure has them, even if they say they don't. It's just like I don't think most people recognize that they're having a thought like that. They probably just think it's something normal that they just like put away, basically.
Yeah, I for sure need researchers to look into this some more. I don't know if they already do, but it would be really cool to just really 100% know why we have these thoughts. Because as of right now, it's just a theory that our brain just does checkups to see what is allowed and what is not and why. And do we still believe in these rules?
Or it could be
Or
aliens.
it could be. Oh, right. I
Yes,
forgot.
sir.
We need to introduce aliens. And this is
You
like
got
right.
to.
Aliens planted these thoughts into us,
Yeah, it's
and
like
they
aliens that send brainwaves through the simulation to make sure that they still have us under control.
exactly. So this is all connected to aliens, of course, as always. Tier zero stuff has to
Exactly,
be.
exactly. Mine is ruthless.
Damn. As
Like,
always.
yeah, I mean, they don't even got nothing to do with police this time. This is just a person. Okay, so crazy how it works out. This might actually be a person that was listening to those first thoughts that came to his mind, because he
Fuck.
did all of it, every single thing that he thought about. So, all right, so mine is about Chris Benoit. You guys may have heard of him, maybe not. Have you heard of Chris Benoit, Pam?
Nope.
So Chris Benoit is a famous Canadian wrestler. This happened about maybe 10 years ago, maybe it's 2022, never mind, maybe 20 years ago. Like it's happened like early 2000s, like 2005 through 2007 basically. So Chris Benoit was a famous wrestler. He started his career around age 18, and he went on to have about 22 major wrestling titles before his career ended abruptly. We'll get to that in a second. As he was doing his career, he also had a wife whose name was Nancy and a 7-year-old kid whose name was Daniel. Other than him being a wrestler, he was basically just living a normal life. I mean, he had a regular suburban house, of course, neighbors, walking the dogs and stuff. Just like imagine a regular suburban guy, other than being a really, really famous Canadian wrestler.
Hmm.
All that was pretty normal until some warning signs started coming up about him around like halfway through his marriage, right? So after about 3 years of being married, his wife basically came out and said that she definitely needed to file for divorce right now, after saying the marriage was irrevocably broken. So there was something going on within this marriage that nobody really knew about, but she definitely wanted to be outside of this marriage because of something that was going on.
Yeah.
So after some convincing, Chris did tell her like, okay, it's gonna be all right. We'll fix these things, and then she decided to stay with him or whatever. That was happening on the relationship side of things, the relationship or the marriage or whatever. But on the other side of things, for his job, he was also going through a lot of stuff. On the wrestling side of things, he was popping a lot of steroids. He was taking a lot of testosterone pills. He was basically just making himself just a hulk of a man, as big as he could be, as angry as he could be, just all the time. Back then, I don't think steroids were as known about as they are right now. Like now, they're highly illegal. You can't do that. But It was illegal
Hmm.
back then, but nobody really like assumed people were just taking steroids back then if you were big. It kind of just you were assumed to be big because you're a wrestler. So there was a lot of people using it at this time, but it definitely wasn't anywhere near legal in the slightest. Well, arguments in this mixture of taking illegal steroids and testosterone continued for the next 4 years of their marriage until one day in 2007. So one day in 2007, it was seen that Chris had missed many events over this weekend. Basically, it's like if you guys know what WrestleMania is, it was that type of event. So like one of wrestling's biggest events, but it took place in Canada. He missed like multiple of those events, and if you missed that, there is either something wrong with you, you overslept, or something else you probably get fired for because it's one of the biggest events in wrestling. Um, Everyone sent to go check him at that house, and they found a very, very gruesome scene that I can only explain within the next couple of paragraphs. So, the person they found first was the wife. Nancy was found on Friday, June 2022, after they went to go check the house, and she was found killed inside of her bed with her ankles, her wrist, and everything bound to the bed. She was also wrapped inside of a sheet in their bedroom, and it was found that she was choked to death by Chris putting his knee on top of her back and basically pulling a wireless cord as hard as on neck as she could. So,
Fuck.
yeah, completely choked her out, bound her wrist, bound her legs, wrapped her in a sheet, and then just left her there, basically. Um, Basically, after that, they found a Bible that was placed on her body. A Bible's going to be a very, very much reoccurring thing throughout this story. It was basically found on every single dead body. Police went to go dig up the divorce suits after seeing what had been found with his wife, and they found that the only reason she was trying to file for divorce was because of domestic abuse going on inside the household. Nobody looked too deep into it. It kind of just got swept under the rug, and this is what it ended up leading to. So Chris probably convinced her to stop doing that as well, and that's probably why they continue being married, because he told her, if you don't get rid of those divorce papers right now, I'm going to continue beating you until you're dead, most likely.
Hmm.
So after his wife was killed, they cross-referenced this with some messages and some phone calls that Chris had made to his friends and other coworkers. So after his wife was killed, the friend came out and said, yeah, around 2:30 a.m. he called me and was like he missed his flight. He overslept, but he's gonna be able to catch a later flight, and that's why he's late right now. The coworker told the police that Chris sounded very groggy and his demeanor was completely different, but the friend thought it was because he overslept. He sounds tired and he sounds sad because he just woke up. So I'll just put that aside, and he'll be here in a second. Missed a flight, but he'll be back on here in a second. So, Chris called him back later that day and told him that he missed his flight again because Nancy and Daniel had both gotten food poisoning. So it was multiple calls, multiple flights missed, multiple hours going by, and he's still not here. But, he's obviously making up lies as this is going on, so his friends just believe him. What else are you going to do? Like, if somebody calls me and says, yeah, I overslept, I couldn't come to work, I'll be there later, and then they call me again and say, yeah, my wife and kids are going sick, so I'll be there way later than right now. You're not going to disbelieve him. That just sounds pretty normal. Yeah. So they cross-referenced this with his flight, and then found out shortly after that Chris did unfortunately end up killing his son. The police went inside the son's room. Same sort of thing. Bound from the wrist and ankles. But he did kill his son way differently than the wife was killed. They saw that there are no internal bruising on the inside of the neck, but they did find that he put him inside a headlock instead of wrapping a cord around his neck and stuff. I don't know if he wanted to kill the son in a softer way, if he wasn't as angry at the son, but it was in a way less brutal way than the wife was. But he still did kill him, unfortunately. He put him in a headlock until he finally went to sleep and never woke back up again. And he also sat a Bible on top of his body. So I don't really know what the significance is of these, Bible getting placed on top of the bodies every single time he kills somebody. I guess he's asking for forgiveness the second that he kills somebody, which I guess is the one flaw that atheists love bringing up about Christianity.
Some type of ritual. Yeah, some type of ritual, maybe.
Ooh.
As
Wait,
you said. I mean, we rarely understand why killers do the killing, and because sometimes they just do weird stuff like cut people's, I don't know, index finger off if they when they kill them, or in this case, place a Bible there. Could have the, as you explained, the reason being like asking for forgiveness, or maybe it's some type of like maybe judgment. I don't know. Like we don't know if he hated his son because, as you said,
True.
the killing was less brutal. But maybe the Bible would be like a sign, probably, to have them be closer to God. Either, as I said, judgment, or maybe just asking for forgiveness. But
Interesting.
we,
Yeah,
we
I
can
didn't
only
think of it like that.
speculate.
Yeah, it could be some sort of, or maybe it was flipped to a certain page and they left it out like it was left on like Revelations or something like,
Fuck.
I hate my family or something like that.
Like a whole movie.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
exactly. But so yeah, he at this point did kill both his wife and his son, and they cross-referenced this was more messages that he sent to his friends and this time his neighbors. So his coworkers then got a message saying, "My physical address is 130 Green Meadow Lane." That's all they sent, but he did send that same message 5 times to 3 different coworkers. So imagine getting the same message 5 times in a row. My physical address is 130 Green Meadow Lane. Like, wait, what's going on? Like, why do you keep sending that? Then he sent a message to his neighbors saying that my dogs are in the pool area and my garage door is open. And he sent that message twice. So at this point, I'm pretty sure you guys will know this is going to go. He killed his wife. He killed his son. And then they eventually went inside the weightlifting room and found that he had hung himself. Now, the way that he hung himself is probably the most brutal out of any of the deaths that we talked about today. Basically what happened is, after all of this, Chris then killed himself by hanging himself from a cord on his weight machine. Now, I'm going to try my best to explain exactly what Chris did in order to hang himself. So, imagine a pull-up bar, right?
Yeah.
And on one side of the pull-up bar, there is 300 pounds of weights hanging from the other side. And on the other side, of course, is a line that's wrapped around Chris's neck. So he's holding the weights with 2 arms behind his head. And as soon as he drops the weights, I don't know if his neck snaps or if he hangs himself, but there's no way he was getting out of that, basically. 300 pounds only being attached by like a noose around your neck. You're not surviving that.
Fuck.
Yeah, so he went out pretty gruesomely. I don't know if it killed him instantly or if he had to sit there and struggle for a long while, but yes, he did die that way. 300 pounds, weight around the neck. And of course, before doing that, he sat a Bible on top of the weight bench. The only motives that they could find was that he was just overusing steroids, he's overusing testosterone, and he was just, very angry at work, very angry with his home life. His wife wasn't cheating on him. His son was actually doing pretty well in school. There was a problem with his son. Apparently, like, Chris thought he was too underweight. So whenever they had done an autopsy on the kid's body, they had found a lot of needle marks that they think the parents had tried to give into him to, like, make him increase in weight, basically. Like, giving him different types of steroids to make him also bigger.
Okay.
But other than that, he really didn't have any problems with his family. Like, he was a very loving man, it seemed like, from outside of things. But like I said, there was no cheating or anything. Another motive that they found was also, I think it's called CTE, which is basically like talked about in a lot of football, where like these big football players are getting hit repetitively over and over again until it causes brain damage that nobody knows about. So
Yeah.
I think this is one of the first big cases ever where people start talking about, well, yeah, he definitely had multiple concussions from this wrestling stuff, and that's why he ended up doing what he did, because it came seemingly out of nowhere. I mean, who just kills their entire family then themselves and then has no suicide note, no note on why he did it, and it happens basically.
Someone who listens to these intrusive brain thoughts.
Exactly,
Like
like
you
I'm
said.
saying, bro. Like, that's really what
Fuck.
it was. There was nothing. He didn't do it for any reason, seemingly.
Yeah. But I mean, with a lot of killers or murderers, I so often hear this phrase that it was all like nothing out of the ordinary. They were a normal family. I don't know why he would have done this. I mean, it's like almost a classic phrase, because a lot of killers just out of nowhere just have thoughts about wanting to kill someone, and they then in the end do it. And people from the outside, who of course cannot comprehend these thoughts coming in, suddenly just, or I mean, just cannot explain this and say, uh, all look normal from the outside. I don't know why this happened. Like, they were a happy family. Maybe they weren't. We just have no insight, or a lot of insight, and especially no insight into his thoughts and why he did it.
Yeah.
These things just appear out of nowhere. I don't think we can even today explain scientifically why some people just suddenly have the urge to kill someone, or to, I don't know, become a fucking religious savior or revenger. I don't know what the motive was with the whole Bible thing.
Hmm. Yeah, that was out of nowhere. I mean, it's like he was just. I'm like 90% sure it's because he was asking for forgiveness as soon as he killed these people. Because it seemed like you would be a pretty religious person if you just had 3 Bibles on deck. Maybe they all kept one inside their room. But he did. I mean, they all died basically the same way, by being suffocated. I mean, it's not like he stabbed them or anything. It even sounds like he kind of went at it pretty calmly. Like,
Yeah, kinda. Yeah.
like it doesn't really seem like. I know they hyped it up to be like maybe testosterone in a fit of rage, but who gets angry and then just suffocates?
Yeah, because if you like, most of these rage cases will have stab wounds, maybe bullet wounds
Yeah,
if they have a gun. Strangling is probably not the first thing people or a killer would do. I mean, then again, the his wife was killed more aggressively, as you described. So maybe there was some hate. I mean, it can be connected to the divorce thing. Then he killed himself in the most brutal way. It's almost like he wanted to die in the most brutal way to what's the word?
um,
Because he
pay
just
for
wanted
his sins,
to. Hmm?
retribution. I think maybe.
Maybe because he did the bad things, like all these bad things, so he just has to experience the worst thing
Uh,
to maybe, like, as an, not an excuse, but to maybe justify it. I don't know, or maybe just to make him feel better. Like, he killed his family, so he has to be killed in the most brutal way.
also, hold on, now that I'm thinking about it, okay, so look, I don't think this is anger at all. So okay, so he strangled his family. That already is like the least likely thing. Because like you said, if you're gonna be angry, you're gonna stab them, and they're gonna see like 25 stab wounds or something crazy like that, right?
Yeah.
After each killing, he went to go text his friends multiple times and call them and have a conversation with them.
Hmm.
So if you're angry, wouldn't you do it all at the same time instead of like taking a break between each killing and basically just like, oh, I'm doing good. I just missed the flight, but I'll be there in about an hour and a half. So just give me time.
Probably. So then that means that he knows how, or does, wait, wait. After every killing, you said he messaged them, but
Yeah,
it was always these excuses that he was doing something else, so no one would notice.
yeah,
And then, okay, and then in the end, he messaged them to have them find his body. So it
basically,
was
yeah,
a, yeah. So it was a completely thought out plan. It something had to have happened, because he really planned this out. Like, he had the whole messages there to, and they were believable. So it wasn't just some weird, hard to believe excuse. They were legitimate excuses. No one thought about him doing anything fishy or illegal in that sense at all. And then he kills himself at the end in the most brutal way. Yeah, this is just a weird case. As you said, don't think this has anything to do with anger. it might not even manipulation or anything. This is probably just something that came to him, especially with the whole Bible stuff. I don't know how religious he was before he killed himself. Maybe he was very religious and that's why the Bibles are there.
Yeah.
Or maybe this is just a weird, intrusive thought that came into his mind. Maybe because he had these concussions already. He was like, I don't know, weakened, if this is the right term, to or weak to these kinds of thoughts. So when they
To
came
fight
in,
them
he
back.
just accepted them. We don't know how the brain exactly works still. Shit like this can happen. This is not the only case of stuff like this happening. A lot of serial killers just start doing what they're doing because of maybe one weird thought, and they're like, "Oh, all right, I'm gonna do it," and then it spirals down.
Jesus, like if he, it's just the fact that he did all this and it was just so like maybe it was just like a well planned, thought out. Okay, so this weekend everybody's gonna be looking for me, so I know for a fact people are gonna come to this house and find us all dead. So on Friday, June, I'm gonna be doing this and it's gonna happen. Basically,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Fuck. Yeah, it makes me think about other cases that might be similar to this. I gotta look into this because it's just, I mean, it sounds wrong, but it's also, I mean, it's kind of maybe fascinating is too much in this as a word right now, but it's definitely interesting just to see and understand why people suddenly have like feel like they need or want to kill not just someone but their closest relatives. Like this is probably the biggest thing you can do, just kill someone you know and love, most likely out of nowhere almost,
Yeah, I
or
can
from the
see.
outside.
I can see the wife. Maybe she cheated on him or something, and then he killed her. But like,
Yeah.
then to be calm enough to go in there and kill your son too. Like what? Like your son is literally. If your wife's not the closest thing to you, like your son is literally from you. Like you can't really get any closer than that.
Hmm. But also hanging himself instead of like going to the police or something or going to jail to atone for his sins. It's almost, I don't even want to say it's cowardly like, but after like killing your family and then killing yourself, it's
No, I
almost
hate when
like
they do that.
he just wants to escape this. Like it all has to end on some finale stuff shit. Like
I
this is
hate
the end
that.
for everyone and me.
Like for all the, especially the shooters, how they'll kill 20 plus people and then end themselves. So like
Yeah.
nobody gets punished whatsoever. Kind of just like, well, that's that. Like I hate when that happens because it just feels like nobody gets anything from that. They just die and then nobody gets like
Hmm.
any type
And we
of
don't even learn why they did this.
exactly.
They're just gone. So why did this happen? Like, were their lives really meant to just end there? This is just sad, and it's crazy that this stuff happens uh, often, like often enough for this to be a reoccurring thing.
Yeah, that's crazy. But
Yeah,
crazy thing is we were gonna talk about this on the other CDD. It's like one of the first ones that I pulled off there. So yeah, if you guys want to do more research on this, Chris Benoit Benoit. It goes pretty deep. Like they start getting into like the his coworkers, what they were saying at work, how he acted and stuff every day. It goes pretty
hmm
deep. But yeah, if you guys are interested in that.
hmm
All right, Pan, you got anything else to say? You good?
Damn, depressing ending. This is
Yeah.
this is almost kind of normal for CD. I mean, the last couple of weeks had some fucked up endings, but this one probably takes the cake for the month of February, I would say.
Yeah, for sure does. We got to bring back the goofy stories.
Oh my god.
we have
We might need to if we continue having these type of stories.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry to leave you guys off with the depressing ending. It's just like a fact check. Basically, this world is not a good place at all. Like nowhere near a good place.
Nowhere near.
Like just be careful because you can always have somebody with intrusive thoughts and then just strangle you, basically, like, for
And
no
you're
reason.
gone.
Exactly. It's just like the fact that it's over after that. That's what makes it so like angry.
Yeah. Death out of nowhere.
Oh my god! I
Without
hope
you
that
wake
never
up
happens.
thinking it's a normal day and boom.
And then somebody just that you've never met in your life just busts in your room like what the, and then just strangles you.
And puts the Bible on you.
Like, nah, don't put a Bible on me. We for sure fighting in heaven or hell or wherever we end up. I guess that's hands. All right, y'all. Well, I think Pan's good. I'm good.
Yeah.
This has been Further Beyond. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We'll see you guys next week. Peace out, y'all.
See ya.